Good afternoon, folks. It is April 2026, the 4th, in fact, at about 2 in the afternoon, and wanted to tell you about a book that I picked up recently. It's part of the Copa Publishing Company's His Greatest Piano Solos volumes, particularly this one of Tschaikowsky. And back when I was really young and really didn't have any idea what I was doing, I actually had another copy, which I still have in tattered form, of Haydn. And the reason I mention this is it's a good collection of things for piano students, but it's also a good collection of pieces, well-known pieces of various composers. In this case, particularly Tschaikowsky, which can also serve in theory lessons, theory classes, theory sessions, or theory private lessons, or whatever, as particular types of examples of interesting chords and the uses of chords, etc., as well as other things. And of the bunch of pieces in here, I happened to notice that there are some, after having gone through the volume a little bit, there are some really good examples of inverted ninth chords. I mean, literally inverted, not just root position chords, but inverted ninth chords. The other person that I associate most frequently with, or most directly I have, is Schubert. There are some of his. There are a couple of inverted ninth chords in his pieces, and so this would be another example of where to go and find inverted ninth chords. And a lot of these happen to come from either the Nutcracker, or have Opus 71, or his album for the young, Opus 39. And I'll give you the list of titles in a minute that I looked at, and after I sort of tell you what kinds of things that I found. So modal borrowing chords, like for example in major mode, borrowing a 2 half diminished seventh. There's a good example of that. As you would expect, the Neapolitan chord is frequently found. There's a particularly good example of a good and very clear Neapolitan sixth chord in an excerpt from Swan Lake, and which might at some point come in handy. There are root possession ninth chords, lots of those in this, but there's also an interesting instance of, I believe it's the Waltz of the Flowers from the Nutcracker, where you have augmented sixth chords used in sequences. And sequences, as most, if not all of you know, are good places to find chords used in non-characteristic ways. So there's a good example of that, and there's also a bunch of places where and particularly would be like as in the Witch from Opus 39, as well as, where's the other one? I think it's I'm not just quite sure where this was, but there are a couple of other places where there are unprepared dissonances, just landing, like right at the beginning of the piece. You have a dissonant harmony moving immediately to a tonic chord, which I think is rather interesting. And the only other place that I can think of immediately where that happens is there's a Bach cantata, and the recitative that the bass soloist is singing about Christ knocking on the door, and there's a couple of unprepared, like I think there's an unprepared F sharp or something like that which emulates or imitates that idea of knocking on a door. And also, there are also a couple of places, a couple of interesting pieces from particularly his, let me find, I can find those, his humoresque, there's a humoresque in here, and None But the Lonely Heart, which again is a very famous song of very famous, probably one of, if not the most well-known Tschaikowsky solo song. There's a transcription, there's an arrangement in here for piano. But those are also interesting because they are parodied in one of Stravinsky's ballets, Le Baiser de la Fée, or The Fairy's Kiss. So this is a really handy little compendium, if that's the word I'm after, of pieces that might come in handy in theory lessons or theory lectures or whatever, if someone looking for a particular example of a particular use of a chord. And I just thought I would let you know about this and recommend this, that if you get a chance to. I happen to get this. I got this really cheap at my local half-price books. I think it was like, what, I don't remember how much I paid for it. It wasn't very much. But this is a good little series for a number of reasons. And oh yeah, the other thing that I found, there's from his Opus 11 string quartet. There's a piano arrangement of an andante cantabile that uses alternations, the occasional alternations between 3/4 and 2/4, which I sort of found interesting myself, and I think I might just tear that apart a little bit at some point when, in an odd evening, or like when there's a rainy Sunday afternoon and I've got better things to do but I want to avoid by doing something like that. Okay, anyway, so this is the Copa series, Tschaikowsky, his greatest piano solo series, piano volume, and it's really quite interesting. The Haydn one is also interesting. But it's a good place to, yeah, those are a good source of little excerpts that might turn out to be useful in a theory-related class or lesson or whatever. All right, that's it for now. And again, I hope you're well, and I will be back at you later with more with other things that hopefully at least some people will find interesting. All right, take it easy, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.